I awoke to find my party had left me. This was now a common occurrence. Usually, after a hard-fought battle, and a short, terror-filled night of sleep, they woke before I, put out the fire, and began to quest as heroes often do. Usually, I would wake abruptly, still in mid-dream, either swinging an imaginary sword or making sweet, sweet love to the rock that served as my pillow. Once the rock turned out to be a turtle. That was a day I'd like to forget. Now, as a dwarf, we are known for several things, not the least of which is our ability to sniff out companions. Our keenly developed noses, bred from thousands of years of dwarfic evolution, allow us to find gold in mountain, rock, friends in crowds of people, and adventure in mundane towns. Most usually, my nose would be turned towards adventure, but today it was in search of my friends, who in their wisdom decided not to bring me along for the beginning of their quest into the heart of the Ice Queen's lair. I could smell the woman first. This should come as no surprise, as behind gold, women rank higher in the dwarfish mind than most illusions. This woman was our elf, a lightning-fast specimen of unyielding beauty and grace, feet so fast they could pummel you to death in a mere instant, and eyes so sharp she could track a falcon on a cloudy day. Her name would change based on her quest, as she liked the anonymity of questing, but those of us who had been with her on many adventures, such as myself and the barbarian, knew her by her real name, Medea. The barbarian, Divard, a brute, but a clever brute, got this from her on a night when she was under a spell of white wines. The other member of our party that night, a wizard named Jules, didn't survive the next 30 minutes. After falling asleep in the middle of battle, she was brutally murdered by giant beasts from Hades. Funny thing, that. Wizards die so quickly. It's a wonder we keep them around at all. I tracked my group through several hallways, the air getting crisper and my fingers aching to the bone. I gripped my short sword for more warmth than protection as I casually scanned the ground for traps. Suddenly, I saw before me a door. Inside this door, I heard a scream of a silent voice and little else. I grasped the handle and prepared to enter when I heard from behind me the drawing of a sword. I turned to see Divard, the barbarian. Behind him, directly behind him, in single file, was Medea. Behind her was an unnamed cleric of little importance, 2 hired goons, and, of course, another damned wizard. The wizard had visible piss stains on his pants and clutched the book of spells he carried with him like a shield. Divard nodded to me, and I opened the door. Inside was a dimly lit tube. In one corner was a bookshelf, sparse and containing only hints of long-forgotten texts that were once on its shelves. Dust cropped up in the cracks from where they had been standing together, but now they were missing. The wizard, naturally, went there, as Divard, Medea, and myself pushed forward. I scanned for traps, and seeing one, disabled it. Truth be told, I wouldn't have done so had Divard not demanded it. Frankly, there was something more important in my mind. Just behind the tube, I could see light coming through the wall, in the cracks. Golden light. Medea must have noticed me seeing it as she stepped forward in front of me. "Now, Duncan," she said, "the reason we left you back there was because last night you almost got us killed searching for treasure. We've got to find the door out of this place, and you have already loaded us down with so much gold you can barely walk 6 steps without having to stop and take a breath." "True," I said to him. "But really, how many times can one dwarf unleash the hounds of Cronus in one quest?" This did not please her. I shouldered on past her and onto the tube. It carried a stench that overwhelmed my nose that could only be one of 2 things, and personally I doubted it was fine cheese. Thus I arrived at the wall before Divad could stop me. Everybody stood as I reached my arm back and swung at the loose rock, fantasizing as what gold light could be. "I search for treasure!" I exclaimed as I bashed the wall once, then twice. A dwarf-sized hole was soon in front of me, and I entered the blinding light without hesitation. When my eyes adjusted, I saw Medea there behind me. I may have been a nuisance, but I was their nuisance, and if I was to die today, it would be on their hands. Thus Medea was there, and Divad was struggling to get through the rock himself. The wizard had predictably fallen asleep by the bookshelf. I looked around to see only one chest, made of solid gold, bright and shining, as if the years of obvious hiding behind a fake wall in a tomb had not faced it. No cobweb had dared to grace it, no mice had come near. It was pristine, and it was open. The overwhelming smell had taken its toll on Medea and Divad as they stood off to the side of the cramped quarters, but it had grown on me. I shuffled as quickly as I could to the chest, my mind racing as to what treasure lay inside. I could barely contain myself as I reached and ducked my head inside. My body was tingling with excitement, and my mouth was salivating in preparation. It was then that I went still. There was silence in the room. Medea and Divad looked at each other, both grasping the swords, awaiting the inevitable backfire. I raised my head slowly and mumbled something incoherent. "What?" asked Medea. Trembling, I mumbled it again. "What did you do, Duncan?" said David. It was all I could say, the words trembling from my lips. "It what?" said Medea. "It said gift." More silence filled the room. I breathed in heavily. "It said gift!" "What the hell is it, Duncan? A monster? An ice monster? A vortex? What is it?" screamed David. I turned to him, my hands outstretched, with my fine tears streamed down my face as I pointed my treasure to them. It's... Boom!